Welcome to the Forging Better Humans podcast. I am your host. We are no longer in Ocala, Florida. I don't know if you've noticed, but our studio has changed a bit. We are in a really cool, when did they say this thing was built? 19 something? It was 18, but then
18 something,
probably
1904.
1904.
Something like that.
Firehouse here in Lynchburg, Virginia. It's been renovated and now it's an Airbnb. So they've got a lot of really cool shit in here. Fire poles, hose drying racks, like really cool stuff. That's not what the podcast is about, but it's a really cool venue. So I thought I'd kind of like give it a little love. It's the Firehouse 4 venue in Lynchburg, Virginia. If you're ever interested in staying at a really unique spot in Lynchburg, this is a cool spot. We are here for a Jiu Jitsu competition. As you know, Iron Legion, strength and combat. The combat side of what we do is Jiu Jitsu. I'm a big fan of Jiu Jitsu. Recently started it a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. I love it. My buddies here in Virginia started a competition. American Combat Club started a competition here in Virginia, and we came up to compete in it. Super fun. I brought Alex up and a couple of other folks, but Alex was one of the main competitors on the floor along with myself. And Alex, this was probably one of you've competed in a couple things, but not a big like going out and compete all the time kind of guy. You just started in jiu-jitsu, and this is, I would say, probably one of the most aggressive competitions you've ever jumped into. Yeah. And I think you did really well, but I'd like to hear your experience. What did you think about the event overall? Just talking on the jiu-jitsu perspective, we'll get into all the other outside stuff, but like on the jiu-jitsu side, what did you think?
Definitely with the rule sets being what they consider absolute, being no weight class, you're basically put to anyone and everyone. So I was put up against a guy who had easily 50 pounds ahead of me.
Yeah, definitely would have been in your weight class in an IBJJF
was definitely like 2 to 3 weight classes ahead of me.
An actual fight.
Very realistic. It felt a little bit more pressure than you, but definitely felt like fighting you. And I just tried my hardest to fight against him, try to work my game and try to get to the full guard and worked from there. And I fought off every attacks that he had. He said he went for Kimuras, he went for arm bars, and I had fought those off. And
you defended all of them. I watched.
Defended all of them.
Yeah.
Until he just went for a simple collar choke, and I tried to manage hands where I could, try to defend the collar choke, and I had to give up something to completely defend his attack. But when you give a defense, you give up controlling of one thing, you have to go to defense, and that's where he got me on the collar choke.
Yeah, I would say from watching from the outside, as well as a lot of other competitors that were there, you gave a hell of a fight, man.
Thanks.
Like a lot of good training. Your coaches were proud of you. Like a lot of the guys around the ring were proud of you. Even the guy that you fought with today, we sat around a fire today. It wasn't a fire. It was actually a rockabilly concert out in the woods of Lynchburg, Virginia, and you hung out with the dude that you competed with, right? Yeah. The guy that beat you, but you hung out. You guys are friends.
Became friends.
Chill, and just were able to drink and talk and hang out. So like that's the thing about jiu-jitsu. Like you learned, you didn't lose. Right. So your competition experience was. I made a joke. You were just like, oh man, I got beat, but I'm like, did you get beat? I mean, are you going to quit jiu-jitsu? No, we're not going to quit jiu-jitsu. Like, we're going to continue to go. So it's more of a, if you were quitting, sure, you got beat. That's what a lot of pussies do. They decide that, like, hey, I lost, so I think I'm going to fucking quit this because I'm not good at it. Bullshit, man. Like, you learn, you find out what your things are. If you have to write them down, but you start drilling that type of shit, you get better at those things, and you go back to competition floor and you do it again. And you continue to do it until you don't get shut down, and then you start to win. So, like, I can see that heart and that desire in you, and that's one of the reasons why I brought you up here. There's not a lot of people that are cut out for this kind of shit, but I feel like you're one of them. So, let's talk about like when we got here. One of the first things that we did was going up on the mountains in Blue Ridge, right? And we went and found a stream. It was all of us, the American Combat Club guys, a bunch of guys from here in Lynchburg, and we went out and found a stream, super cold water. What we do?
And we just hung out in the waterfall, kind of like a baptism before war.
Baptism before war.
Everyone got, multiple times to dunk under the waterfall. Hung out a couple seconds under the waterfall, take it in, breathe it in, and then ventured down further down the waterfall. Found a couple different like little pools to hang out and do some Wim Hof breathings while you're completely submerged in the water, and
super cold water.
Super cold water, and just to hang out, kind of decompress beforehand, enjoy nature, everyone was spiritual about it,
before we started
take it all in. Before we did anything, we just try to like decompress, enjoy our time, hang out, just chilling, meet the people that we haven't hung out with before from Orlando, or some people that we met up here from Virginia. Definitely to get to know them, talk, hang out, or make better connections that we already had established with Orlando, but even make those even tighter. So that was a good thing to just let loose, hang out, have fun.
It was great. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was good to it was kind of like if you've ever been to Lynchburg, it's surrounded by Appalachia. So there's woods everywhere. And when you're downtown, it's just big old brick buildings. I mean, the city's really super old, and it's just got this really cool feel to it. So when you're out in a mountain situation like that, it had a cleansing feel of it. Just like get rid of all the modern world, all of its trappings, all of its bullshit, right? And you're just sitting underneath a mountain stream, just like smashing in your face, and it's just cleansing, right? Mm-hmm. So you could actually go into the event free, right? And then that's the way the property that we were competing on has that feel, right? So the temple's on the top of a hill. You're kind of making the whole pilgrimage up there. You're going up there to fight, and there's a big honor piece to it, all that type of stuff. And you're in the middle of the fucking woods, and it just has this great masculine feel to the whole thing. Everybody's just getting at it, and it's super fucking cool. So having that cleansing ritual beforehand, I thought was really cool, really neat. And so but you grabbed that right off the rip. You're like, that was fucking cool shit.
And also the gym not having any power added into it, being even more savage. I don't say savage, but more primitive. It felt just opening the doors. It was natural light, the wind coming in as is, and it just got it got hot because there was no more wind coming in. Yeah. The fans weren't running. Yeah. So it made it even more.
I forgot about that. Yep. Yeah, exactly right.
Same brutal. It made it more temperament, very surreal, even though when we got done with our stuff and watching the other belts compete, it felt even more, we were in it, because even more than you say IBJJF comp, like at Pans or Worlds, where you're sitting on the bleachers in an air-conditioned building and watching people compete. And no, it's your feet away from, and sometimes we watched from the blue belt or the purple belt finals right on the edge of the mats.
Yeah, that was cool shit.
We were watching as close as we could. There was some music playing, and we were watching it. There's nothing else going on. It's just them competing. Absolute. There's nothing else added to it. There's no fans. There's no lights. There's nothing else going on. It's just them.
And other fighters.
Yeah. It was just them going to war.
Middle of the fucking woods, man, going to war. Yep.
And that was part of the most surreal part of it. Was we're trying to because it's such a small venue, about the size of our normal mats, and you're trying to you're peeking around with other people. There's a squat rack that I was kind of hanging on, and I'm trying to look through between people's heads, other people's arms, this people's equipment. I'm trying to look through to just try to get a glimpse of what is going on.
Yeah.
And then they would move the other side, and I couldn't see it anymore. So I'm I wish there was mirrors on the other side of the building so I could see what's going on, but there wasn't. So I kind of had to wait and see. Maybe they roll back more towards the other side of the mats to where I could see it more, and it felt more real. a lot more tighter. You know, that this is it. This is what it should be. This is fighting, combat sports.
Right.
More than the grand stage you see in IBJJF of, these grandstands, everything else.
All the other things where it's just all so organized.
You felt more disconnected because it's your coach is on the edge of the mats and that's it. And your friends and family are, 20, 30 feet away, 10 feet up on these grandstands. You may be able to hear them, you may not be able to.
Right.
But when you have your friends and your family 10 feet from you, we had our Coach Terrie, coaching me. We had Mitch coaching me. We had other people, other black belts trying to feed into it, mainly focus on what Terry's telling me because he's our main coach.
Right.
Trying to coach me through it, and it felt a lot more closer. Him telling me exactly what to do, and I can hear my opponent's people coaching him at the same time. Trying to tell him keep going. Terry telling me to do this. A lot more than you just hear, faint cheering. It was dead silent. It was just the coaches cornering their fighters.
Yeah. Which makes it, I don't know, way more of a solid experience.
I would like to know how you both prepared for this weekend.
Is that a question that's going to be on the podcast?
Yes.
Okay.
What did we say, a month or so, month and a half?
Yeah, so I started probably 2 months
a week
before.
or two before I did.
Signed up for it, and then we were digging. I jumped into fight camp with Terry, our black belt coach, and he had a program he wanted to put me on. It was, different style of fight camp. He's like, you're gonna fucking hate it. He says you're gonna think you're only getting fucking worse, but at the end you're gonna be getting better. You won't even really realize it. So I started in a fight camp and I fucking hated it. The first couple of weeks I really didn't like it. But I don't really like a lot of my training. I just fucking do it because I have goals. And I'm goal driven, so I want to get fucking better. So yeah, it sucks maybe a little bit, but I'm going to dig. So I started digging. I started getting into it, and I'm still rolling with Alex. And Alex is a badass motherfucker, and he's getting better and better and better at jiu-jitsu all the time. And I was like, start fucking training. So he walked in, and I was 2 weeks after I'd already been doing fight camp, right?
I just self-volunteered to start hitting up the extra rounds. We started doing 4 5-minute rounds the first week, and then it instantly went into 5 5-minute rounds, and I self-volunteered to do the extra rounds with you.
Yeah.
Even without knowing that I was going to go, because I just want to get better. So, and when we confirmed that I was, I can go, I got the time off from work, and then it was all hell broke loose. It was just, Terry's like, all right, both of you doing 5 5-minute rounds.
Yeah.
And, rolling other people from the gym in. Joe picked up extra rounds as much as he could to get better. And that's great. Allie picked up times when she could. Other people that had started coming, Jacob and everyone else started picking up extra rounds. Terry kind of scheduled us to stay out on the mats while other people were still getting their 3 5-minute rounds like normal classes. Try to give them some time off and let other people come in, substitute in while we're still rolling. And he never let us up, giving us time to, push us. I did a couple rounds with Joe, just flow rolling, nothing super crazy, for an hour on a couple times. Roll with Terry for 30 minutes straight, which is, insane, which most people will hardly ever do in their normal hobbyist, career, like you said, career for jiu-jitsu. Just being a hobbyist, maybe showing up once or twice a week, they're never ever going to go for 30 minutes straight against a black belt.
Right.
That's going to put the pressure on you like Terry did on me. And he's like, no white belt should be able to push that much pressure on you for that long within the 5 to 10 minutes. which would be a normal round, which
Which
weekend
reflected into that because you were able to just maintained.
yeah. And listen, to my opponent, like he told me, he's like, dude, you just survived. Like you just kept holding on the whole time. I never let up against them. He never let up against me, but I still held on, did my own, did what a little bit of training, a little bit of surviving, just to try to, fight off everything every advancement that he did for his game. I was trying to like slowly work into mine because, my game's a little bit more slower, methodical, technical.
Very methodical. So like I would say, and there's one of the conversations I had with Terry before we came to this fight was fight camp, signing up for this. As far as the Iron Legion Jiu Jitsu program that we have going, it leapfrogged our program. It leapfrogged all of our students because we were training traditional Jiu Jitsu, a little bit here, a little bit there, that type of shit. But like once fight camp happened, everybody got the benefit of fight camp.
Yeah.
Everybody did. So like Joe, Alec, all of them got to jump in and get a real taste of what it takes to really train to be the fucking best. And I can tell you one thing, a lot of our guys talked about right before we left. They're like, hey man, good luck, all this kind of shit, and all good stuff. He's like, but when we get back, every one of them's like, when we get back,
they don't want to go back to 3 times.
No, they want to keep
roll
up 5 fucking times. They want to roll more. They want to like everything that we've been doing. We don't want to stop because like it's gotten us to where we are right now. Like,
yeah,
we've had a couple of blue belts come into our open mats at Iron Legion, and we've had our white belts fucking wax their ass. So like, this is real shit, guys. Like the stuff that we're learning from ACC, from American Combat Club, it's translating really well into our real world thing, and we're going out into a competition world and showing it. So like, these guys, when we come back from competition, they want to keep going with like that style of training. They fucking love it. So like, I'm all about it. So like, let's keep fucking doing it. So
it's
excellent fucking weekend. All in all, like there were concerts afterwards. We did a badass fucking late night by the fucking Round Barrel Fires. Just rock concert late at night in the ruins down at my buddy's place, and then the next day was a rockabilly concert. Just chilling. Today. That was today. Earlier today. We've had a couple of beers, and just hanging out and just chilling afterwards. And like guys that were fighting yesterday were just chilling and drinking beers with each other today.
The camaraderie is
fucking amazing, right?
Is you don't and that's what you want. You want the guys that beat each other to turn around and shake each other's hands, give hugs, and then to have fun the rest of the weekend afterwards. Yesterday being Saturday, hanging out, having beers, enjoying time. Guys that had never met each other,
right?
Having full-on conversations. What's your life, this and that. And then today, so yesterday it was after the competition. Coach Terrie did a seminar, and then we had some other coaches do. Greg Walsh out of Wolf Brigade did some seminar, and then it was like, all right, go home or go back, have dinner, and come back and party. And then same thing today. Coach Don did a seminar. Did everything else. We did some live rollings. Break, go for lunch, come back, and hang out. A little more relaxed feeling, but same thing. People that we rolled against pick right back up. Hey man, how's it going? This and that. How are you feeling? And you break down your matches, what you saw, what from the outside and people that competed, breaking, talking about it. So
yeah,
to have that camaraderie of, it's not like the full on competitions where you just like absolutely hate the person. You just bump fist, fight, get whoever's hand get raised is, and then that's it, and you walk off and you don't want to ever see each other again.
Right.
This definitely pushed you to get to the competition, and then turn around and have the brotherhood of talk and go over things and definitely build on your game or whatever, just to have that connection, than you would normally have a normal competition where you may never see that person again because they're maybe from a different country. Here it's different states, but you definitely felt a tighter connection.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I mean, I can't tell you how many CrossFit competitions that I've been to, and I never talked to the people that were in my division, right? So like, they're faceless. you're competing against them. They're there. They're on the floor with you. They're digging. But like, I never had a conversation with them. Maybe one or two on the floor after the fact, after we've competed, right? Even Olympic weightlifting in my Olympic weightlifting career, not much different. Like in the warm up pits and different things like that, I'd have casual conversations, different things afterwards. But like, when you're doing a jiu-jitsu or a grappling competition and you're in somebody's personal space and you are like fucking attached to that person for 5 fucking minutes, less or more, right? There's things that you learn about yourself. There's things that that person learns about themselves. And we want to fucking talk about that, like, as a team, because together at this comp, we weren't all going to war to kill each other. We're all want to get fucking better at our skills. That's what this whole fucking thing was about. So like, we can sit down afterwards and talk about like, here's where this was and here's what I wanted to do, and it didn't happen like that. And it's kind of cool because you would have never done that with any of the other kind of competitions. But this is so much more of a human connection where you're like, you and I just fought, and now I want to sit down and drink a fucking beer and talk about it. How fucking cool is that?
Here's it's the here's where you messed up. Here's why I messed up.
Yeah.
You know, afterwards, like breaking things down, like, you know, and that's you know what we strive for, is to have that camaraderie, to be able to do that instead of just blowing each other off and you don't know
Right.
who it was that you were going against. Here it's like I know half the guys' names, even though I never went on a mat, like actually fought against them, but I knew most, like half the guys' names in my belt division. Another like quarter of the guys in the next couple belts of above us, I knew their names, you know, knew where they come from, this and that. So it was like, you know, to have that is a lot better than just the, hey, you know, you just bump, you know, slap hands and go at it and then like never see the person again.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, all in all, completely different experience. Really fucking cool. Still vibing a little bit. We still got a little bit left, so we're still waiting on some of the boys to get back from the land, and then we'll probably drink a few more beers here at our awesome firehouse venue. I really wish we could take this podcast through this whole thing. It's like 2 levels, crazy cool spot. But yeah, all in all, great fucking weekend. Alex, I feel like you had a great time. Would you do it again?
I would do it again.
In a fucking second, right?
As soon as they say like, hey, we're doing this again next year, sign us up.
Do it again. Yeah, sign us up.
And hopefully we have to be able to, this becomes a more regular, what would you say? I want to say like tournament style from other competitions that I'd be able to host at other places.
The boys are coming.
To have the same style other places, and I'll sign up for those. But definitely to come back here next year would be amazing.
A few minutes where we can snatch up Terrie for a second.
Yeah, we have
Terrie! You want to be on a podcast?
Yes.
You want to? Sorry, we're on right now. This is Coach Terrie. He's our black belt coach from ACC. He just walked in. He's been out hanging out at the land, saying all the goodbyes that we didn't do because we came in here to do a little bit of work. But and then come on in, Don. Don's another coach. So we have Don's a black belt coach with American Combat Clubs. Worked with us a few times. Terrie too.
We're black belt brothers. We got promoted on the same day.
Black belt brothers. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So we were getting ready to wrap up, but you guys walked in, so we're gonna just a couple more minutes if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Experience. What do you think about we were talking about Alex's fight, the whole experience overall, like training. We talked about how terrible of a coach you were. No, I'm kidding. That part was a joke. But yeah. So like, what was your experience? This is the first time you've been up here too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was a good experience. You know, they built up a whole community here that's all about uplifting each other because they understand that taking the people from the bottom and building them up is only going to raise them up, you know. And that's the same thing that we do at Iron Legion, the same thing we do at American Combat Club. You know, like you like to say, forming better humans, right? And that was the point of the entire thing. It was, for a lot of those guys, it was an in-house tournament. Obviously, they're local, they live here,
right? And
it was an opportunity for them to bring 3 separate communities together, from, you know, quite literally like hundreds and hundreds of miles away.
A lot of them,
We drove 12 hours total, I think,
to get up here.
almost 800 miles. But the next level hospitality and just the events period, from the grappling event to the live music to just the camaraderie and everything was absolutely amazing.
Super unique, right? And you've done a lot of fights.
Yeah. I've traveled to different countries. I've traveled all over the U.S. to compete and teach, and this was stood out completely for sure.
Yeah, very cool event. Very cool event. So, coming back?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Definitely want to come back. So we had a great time here. These guys just got in. They're probably all wanting to get in the shower. I think a couple of us probably need to do the same. So we're going to cut this a little bit short, but wanted to talk about our experience in Lynchburg, Virginia, and obviously get Alex on here because he fought his ass off on the mats, and I think that you guys need to see that. The dude really did really well. I'm proud of him. Terry's proud of him. The whole group's really proud of the stuff that Alex did. Kicked ass out there, man. So, and I like hearing your side of the story as to like how it went when you came up here. So like I've told people a few times before when I've come up to Virginia, it's a fucking unique time, man. You really want to come, and you took me up on it, and here we are. And you found out that that's exactly the case. So glad you came up. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Terry.
Yeah.
And Alex. And that was
right at the last minute.
Yeah, right at the last minute. Forging Better Humans podcast. I don't know which number. And we will see you in the future. I got to make money somehow.